Behind those cops, you've got a wailing grandmother who's absolutely hysterical and beside herself. She says her 13-year-old granddaughter was shot tonight. Home invasion. Somebody walks into their kitchen to find a guy with a gun, and two others follow that guy, and then terror strikes. We're going to step back this way. We've got an anonymous interview with the victim. Those who aren't desensitized are belly aching over the pain at the pump. But maybe it's all relative. As night falls on Bourbon, we go where the freaks go. Boots on the ground on Bourbon Street. Follow us. The body parts that are supposed to be covered up aren't covered up, and you have this behind me. This, by the way, is how certain New Orleanians do their Valentine's Day. They pack the street, and they get ready for Rebirth Brass Band, a Grammy-winning band. They wear hockey masks because Coach says they're safer than football helmets, and they're taking a break from the rain right now. If it continues to come down hard, they go inside the classroom at the Yet Center just off of Earhart, and they learn their plays on the chalkboard. Dwayne, why'd you try to run?
It's because of my girlfriend was pregnant.
And so Dwayne Young, who was due out of jail in a few days for shoplifting, couldn't wait. On a work release program at the fairgrounds this morning, he bolted. Stopped in City Park where he shed his orange jumpsuit before being caught across town. He's the fourth inmate to escape custody of the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office in 3 weeks. Sheriff, do you have a broad sweeping security problem at the jail?
No, we don't have a broad sweeping security problem.
Okay, what happens if they kill someone? If they run away and they kill someone, who will answer that then?
That's from a French-Canadian tourist who just learned about the City Park manhunt, which also included the locking down of Brothers Christian School. Young's rap sheet dates back to 2000 and includes arrests for forcible rape, attempted forcible rape, and armed robbery, among others.
This guy was at a community service detail. We do community service details all over the city.
Why was a guy with that kind of record allowed to be in a community service detail?
He had several arrests. His last arrest was 8 years ago.
Until his theft arrest Monday. Today, Orleans Sheriff Marlon Gussman says he's looking forward to the completion of his multi-million-dollar new jail. His temporary facility is where these two removed a fence before fleeing last month, and where this guy scaled a razor wire fence to freedom earlier this week. All three were caught. As for Dwayne Young. Weren't you going to get out soon, though?
Yes, sir.
So what's the rush?
I don't know.
Do you need more guards around these fences with guns?
We could probably use as many guards as we could afford.
And a quick note about the charges we talked about, those serious charges mentioned in the piece regarding Young. Those charges were refused by previous DA's offices over the course of the last 12 years. As for Young himself, he used a fake name when he was arrested and a fake name in jail with deputies before his escape today. Tonight, he's back in jail at OPP. We're live from Orleans Parish Prison. Sheldon Fox, WGNO News. Kirk? At first glance, Duncan Plaza tonight looks like a flashback to 2007 when a homeless encampment dominated the park steps away from City Hall. But the Occupy NOLA movement is different. There are homeless people here, but also organized protesters following what's happening to others like them elsewhere.
Do not give in! Do not give in!
Occupy Wall Street protesters in Manhattan's Zuccotti Park were kicked out this morning, then ordered by a judge to keep their tents out. Here's a look inside the New Orleans tent city, which Mayor Landrieu said yesterday won't be here forever.
The city's going to do what they're going to do, and we're going to be here to fight.
What does that mean?
We're going to be here to back what we're fighting for.
Our idea is that we are building the community that we dream of. Many of us actually have homes that we do live in, but we've chosen to set up camp here.
We've got two computers going. I'm producing and moderating the chat.
What do you say to those who have that conception or misconception that this is just a homeless shelter?
It's not just a homeless shelter.
Beyond a broadcast center here, what else do you have that we might be surprised about?
Over here, we have our wellness tent. We have a doctor that comes at least once a week. We have a welcome team normally staffed here during daylight hours. We prepare 3 meals a day for approximately 150 to 250 people.
The lentils today happen to have a ham hock and a hand shank in it for those that eat meat.
Little southern flair.
Yes, indeed.
A gentleman recently passed away in his tent. We've erected a shrine here in his honor.
And eventually they're going to have to do away with what's here in some form. What happens if they follow suit and do what New York did?
Well, here's what I want to know. How do you kick people out of public?
Sex offender Teddy McGee, found guilty of sexual battery Monday, is in the streets tonight because he walked out of criminal court moments after being convicted of battering his girlfriend. Now, instead of celebrating a conviction, DA Leon Cannizzaro is answering questions like this. Who's at fault here? This guy is in the street now.
You know, I don't want to point fingers here. We've got to come together with the judges. We've got to come together with the sheriff. We've got to find this guy.
Neither Judge Ben Willard nor Orleans Sheriff Marlon Gussman would give us an interview tonight offering specifics on how they think McGee slipped out of a crowded courtroom so easily, and whether Orleans Criminal Court is adequately equipped to stop bail-jumping escapees. Court minutes said, quote, defendant fled courtroom after guilty verdict, end quote. In an email sent today, the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office tells us McGee used this side exit onto Broad Street when he left the courtroom, but this looks like an emergency exit that hasn't been used in some time. They also tell us there were no cameras present in the area during the escape, but there's a security camera right above the door. Do we have a security problem in the courtroom of criminal court here in New Orleans?
You know, you look at this case, I have to tell you that we don't see cases like this happening every day. This is an aberration.
An aberration, making for an at-large offender who tonight is getting advice from his criminal defense attorney.
The best thing that he could possibly do for himself, for his loved ones, for his legal situation would be to surrender himself.
McGee's girlfriend and victim refused to testify against him. She instead testified as a witness in his defense. She reportedly yelled out in distress after the guilty verdict and just before he slipped out of court. She was then jailed for contempt of court. McGee slipped out as Judge Willard discussed with attorneys sentencing and new bond arrangements. He was initially arrested on sex battery and home invasion charges, though he was only convicted of sexual battery, and he was free on bond throughout that trial. Kurt?
All right, Sheldon Fox reporting for us. Thank you, Sheldon.